Whenever there's been war, famine, economic downturns, Broadway has been a place for people to come and to put their fears aside and sit there and be entertained. It's part of our national character.
It's a very New York feeling. When you're leading up to that time when a Broadway show is happening, you know, there's more cabs, there's more restaurants bustling, there's all of these people lining up outside every Broadway theater.
When you hear that crowd and that murmur going out there, you know, the musicians feel it, the crew knows, oh, we got a big house tonight, this is gonna be good.
This is a billion-dollar industry. Thousands of people work long, hard hours to deliver a product that is ephemeral. At any given moment, something can happen. The show could be a little bit different every day, and that's part of the excitement of it.
It might be the greatest form of entertainment there is. I always tell people, you better love what you do. You know, like everybody else is having a barbecue on Saturday and you're working 2 shows and then getting home late, leaving early, and then your day off might be Monday where everybody's working. My name is Jimmy Fettigan. I am a production electrician on Broadway shows. I kind of facilitate the day-to-day of like loading shows in, taking shows out, things like that. So right now we're just gonna check on all the shows from last night. I'm getting, 8 of these a week, times every show. So basically, I'm just kind of going through quickly to see if there's any technical notes. They'll tell you about who was in the show, who was in, who was out, time the show went up, what time the show went down, things like that. I usually just go right to technical, and this one right here says good show, no notes. Technical, none. My favorite ones. The beauty of this position and this job is there's no such thing as a normal day. I've worked on Broadway since 1980, so it was kind of my only job. A lot of kids had jobs at McDonald's and they had jobs at Burger King, things like that, where I was working in a lighting company. And then my father worked on Broadway. Everybody loved my father. So if you went from 41st to 52nd Street, which is really Broadway proper, you had to stop 50 times for everybody to say hello to him as you walked by. So my kids now come and we walk up and it's the same thing.
Technically, what Broadway is are shows that have played the 41 Broadway theaters. They stretch from 41st Street to 65th Street, and they're all centered around Broadway. 1903 and 1904, that's when the theater district moved to Times Square, and it's also when our first electric billboards went up.
I was here as a kid in the 70s all the way through, so I've seen the change of Times Square. So I've seen it when it was light bulbs, then became neon. You could actually hear the buzz of the neon, like transformers, because there was so much of it. Times Square at the time was not a place that was what it is now. It was movie theaters that may have been putting in crazy shows, like a raunchier type, feel. Now, when you get all the tourists there, and we're trying to walk from point A to point B, everybody's looking up, and you can't blame them, because it really is beautiful. This is PRG Scenic Technologies. This is where everything from the ground up is built for all different forms of entertainment. All the Broadway stuff, all the television, film. Guys, you're busy. Looks like the whole floor is taken up.
But we could be empty tomorrow.
Right.
And load out 12, 15 trailers and then the next day full again. So you never quite know.
You're gonna walk in there, you're gonna smell sawdust. You're gonna smell maybe hydraulic oil. There's gonna be chain motors going. They're taking drawings from paper and getting them to work into a theater and be put in there and moved around and flown and hung.
Some of the pieces that we've had to bring into theaters, they take up entire flatbeds. Weird is so normal for us. A lot of it's trying to keep that magic alive for people too. So although we're overcoming physical constraints and physics of things, we still want the audience to be amazed and enjoy the magic when it happens. So we try to keep a lot of those things pretty tight-lipped.
The lighting shop is this huge building, and not only do they do the lighting over there, they do the video and they also do the sounds. This is where all the shows come in to prep before they head into Broadway for loading. They'll do a lot of demos ahead of time to see how it all works so that when it gets there, time is money. When we get into the theater, things have to move fast and work.
We'll have crews come in here, we'll show them how the equipment works, how to set it up, and make sure that it'll sound the way it's supposed to be if it's a speaker, or look the correct way if it's a light.
When I was a young kid, 7, 8 years old, they would drop me off at the warehouse and I started working on lighting gear. And my father, what he explained to me is, we're actually telling the audience where to look.
Without lights, it's radio. We're providing the visual cues, whether it's a music performance or a theatrical performance. It can help set the mood, it can set the tone, it can guide audience's attention. It is an unspoken visual character, and it adds to the story that's being told.
You may see Grammys, Tonys, Mariah Carey concert, Taylor Swift, I guess I should say now, concert, everything like that could all be in docks on its way back in or ready to be pushed out.
At any given point, we can have over 100 trucks coming in and out of a facility.
It gets pretty busy.
Day in the life of Shorty. I'm a truck driver. I go in and out of the city, like Broadway. We deliver Broadway shows, movies. If equipment goes down, like we have a hotline, I got to come in, get loaded, and dash on out. Now, people say I could probably make it into the city in 15, 20 minutes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Rain, sleet, snow, hot, cold, don't matter.
You know, the theater district changes all the time, just like New York City changes all the time. But the shows inside the theaters are still happening just like they've always happened.
At about 5:20, you'll see people starting to meander up this direction. And at 5:30, when the call starts, everybody has their routine. It's like somebody working on a Rolex clock that's perfectly dialed in. The carpenters will check all their pieces they have. The props will go through and they'll start presetting all of their pieces and anything that they have to work on that might be a little banged up from the night before. And the sound system is being checked out. Each microphone is being checked out. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna bring in, once that black light goes out, this electric's gonna come in. That happens during the courtroom scene. And it comes in and turns as it goes, so it uplights the ladies, and it also blinds the audience. We'll bring the Chicago sign in when you get a chance. That's good, I think, on the sign. You good on the sign? Okay, all good on the sign.
Broadway is both so glamorous, right? It's the pinnacle of American professional theater. And it's also, you know, we're performing these shows and making these shows happen in these theaters that are often 100 years old or so. So there's a glamour, and then there's also the other side of it where you're like sharing a toilet with, 20 other cast members, or, oh, we have this much space for our dressing room table.
This is the main desk area that I have. This is upstage left. I have shelving, and I have all the items that we need during the show, whether to fix them or to hand them out for the show. There's pencils, there's cameras, there's newspapers. That's the machine gun for Kitty's scene. This is very tight in the theater. It's not much room. In fact, I'm literally sitting below the drummer under the stage. He actually climbs up this ladder and sits over my head, which makes it for a very interesting evening. On this side, we have the quick change. It's a tiny little space where the actors come to check their makeup or change costumes if needed, but it really becomes more of a storage area. This way is where the actors enter. You can see how the audience can see us. And if we come upstage this way, it enters into the backstage area, which has the staircases to the dressing rooms, and as well as a hangout area for a lot of the actors. Water cooler, and then storage for their water bottles, phones, lipstick, hair and makeup, anything they need when they're not on stage.
About 10 minutes before the doors open for the audience to come in, it gets kind of quiet. It's probably the same thing as being an athlete in a game. Like you've worked your way up to being like, okay, it's showtime.
If you've not signed in, please do so at this time. It's half hour wrong.
You hear the murmur of the crowd. And once they start getting in and it gets they're all talking and it gets louder and louder and louder. And when you have a full house and the audience is, dialed in, it's special. Beaches will be my 126th Broadway show that I've worked on. I'm slowing down a little bit, but we get 3 or 4 a year for the next 5 years or so. My father passed at 59, but during that time when I did go to work, I felt proud that he got to see me progress to a spot he hadn't done
Theater will never be replaced, right? Like there's no form of technology, there's no movie, TV show, AI form, computer generated software. There's nothing that can replace the art form of watching people in a room telling you a story. And while that might look different, the LED marquees and the tracks moving on the stage, it might look different because of technology. The actual art form is forever.